Welcome to the Geniuses of Copywriting podcast, a peek into the minds and strategies of the world's greatest copywriters, marketers, and persuasion experts. And now, here's your host, Brian Cassingena.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Geniuses of Copywriting podcast. I've got a real special guest here, someone who I first met a couple of years ago in Orlando, and I knew who he was a bit then, but talking to him then, I was convinced that he is one of the premier copywriting mentors and coaches going around today. You know, you would have seen, his main event that is coming up in October, because he pitches the shit out of that in an amazingly good way that we all love. So thank you very much for coming on the call, Kevin Rogers.
Brian, man, it's great to be here with you. I'm a fan.
Oh, it's right back at you, man. So for those who haven't come across you just yet, can you tell us a bit about the group and what you do and who you are?
Sure, man. Yeah. So I was a freelance copywriter for about 12 years professionally. That's what I did. And like everybody, kind of found myself in front of this thing called direct response copywriting, and knew it was my thing. And that's a very exciting and daunting thing to realize, because the thing that gets you excited is that it looks easy, but it sure as hell isn't. And you start studying, finding your heroes, right? Yeah. And for me, when I discovered Carlton and Halbert and Cassingena and started reading those guys, I was like, man, I get it. If I can ever get anything like this kind of, control over this process, this is going to feel really exciting. Yeah. And so I became obsessed but wanted to learn as much as I could, but kind of hit a wall. Like after I discovered it, there was only one course then. I imagine today everybody just has immediate overwhelm, right? They dip their toe in these waters. Yeah. Back then, that really wasn't an issue. There was only the AWAI course officially. And then there were some blogs, and there was a really cool message board called the Copywriting Board, run by Michael Fortin. Yeah. Changed my life. And that's what I based Copy Chief on. Yeah, man. So figured it out and made all the mistakes and, felt really stupid and had some wins, had some fails, and found out none of those things make you or kill you. So, wow, that's fun. We get to move on, be a volume dealer, and not think every gig's going to be your last. And after having a successful career and getting to the top of the scale of what copywriters can charge without going sort of full on into partnerships and royalty scenarios that kind of would really change the landscape for me. I invented a good problem for myself, Brian, by releasing a little tiny book called the 60-Second Sales Hook under the guidance of the great Dean Jackson. And that book just resonated, man, and created this whole new aspect to my business, which was more of a coaching role and a teaching role, and helping a lot of business owners get their message across rather than trying to help other copywriters become great copywriters. What I really love is helping people who want to understand copy and get some mastery of it. I just want to get them incremental wins throughout the process. I've never been a guy who's like, I will make you the next great copywriter. I don't have that kind of wherewithal to bring somebody through that arduous mental journey, man. And so what I really love is helping people go, oh, it can be, this is actually fun. Like, oh shit, you just gave me this thing to fill out and I did it. And I was just honest. And this is actually good copy. All right, I got this, right? And so that's kind of what Copy Chief is. And not that we don't dive deep and serious into the craft. I mean, I've got this month's training is with Evaldo Albuquerque, who just broke the record in all of Agora publishing history last year. He's you know, I don't know who could say anyone, you know, he's at the top of the game right now.
Yeah.
You know, $90 million in sales from his copy alone last year. And he's teaching us his system for how he does it and how he chiefs it with his crew of 15. So we definitely go deep. But again, man, for me, I like to just fuel people's passion and give them some wins along the way so that they feel accomplished and stay motivated, rather than going, well, if you're willing to cut your wrist and bleed on the page, and maybe you could be a copywriter someday, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so it's been a great career, and here we are 5 years into Copy Chief, man. And we're just rolling strong. It's been amazing.
It's rocking it. It's funny that you're talking about, you know, some of the gurus around make it sound like, you know, got to make some kind of a superhuman sacrifice to be able to become a copywriter, hand over your firstborn son and like that. So, which, you know, some of us have made those kinds of sacrifices and not even got, you know, half the results of people who have gone through a system like yours, and they just keep it simple. They just hit the main points. They don't overcomplicate things, and that's one of my big things over the years. You know, I just tend to overcomplicate things and overthink stuff when keeping it simple is the way to go.
Yeah, well, I think we tend to do that, you know, for whatever, like half of this is we're writers, you know, and I think we like to toil as writers and stroke our chins and feel tortured. And, you know, part of it is that, but I'm very fortunate, man, to have a friendship with John Carlton, who is by nature my greatest mentor.
Yeah.
Because he was my hero, and then we just became friends. But one thing John would always say to me was, hey, remember, this is supposed to be fun. Like, kind of like, you know, we're getting away with something here because we found a thing we can do, and we're kind of special that we're able to do it. And no one said it would be easy, but it's supposed to be fun, man, because you asked for this, you know? Yeah. And I would remember that, like when it's getting really unfun, I ask myself, why? Is this worth it? Is this only unfun for this reason until I get to the other side of this? But if it's not fun for too long, I start raising red flags and going, I might need to switch things up here, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when you get that fun factor into it, it's a lot easier to get the big results, you know, because you know, she just flows and
right.
And you know, it's you just wonder what the hell you were doing the other 9/10 of the time when you were stuffing around with shit that don't matter. And this is where a lot of the results of your students have come from as well.
Yeah, you know, one thing I like to meet people where they are and find their motivation and find what makes them laugh, what makes them curious, and what pisses them off. Like, you can use negative motivation, like whatever fires you up. But you're right, man, that's the indicator. You know, if you're stuck, and people talk a lot about writer's block, and look, I'm with you on, you know, people say there's no such thing and it's just you need more research. And I say, no, there's fucking moments where you're stuck, man, you know? Yeah. You know what you want to say. You cannot get it out of your head and onto the page. And what I like to do, and what I've taught others to do successfully when I'm feeling that way, is I learned this just like in those moments where it's like, I got to start typing, man. And deadline's looming and I can't, like, I'm locked up. And so I would, out of frustration, start writing the satirical version of the sales letter, right? Like the one that, like, if the client ever saw this, I'd be not only fired but sued, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like, dear douchebag, you and I both know you'll never actually succeed, but let's imagine for a second you weren't a complete loser living in your mother's basement, just like horrible.
Keep going. I'm making notes here, man.
but it would make me laugh. And then you instantly loosen up, and next thing you know, you're going, I'm actually framing an argument here, and if I make sure to delete all that horrible thing I just said in the beginning, this is actually a good start. So whatever it takes to bust loose and let go.
Yeah. So that's just one of the things you really help your students with. So I'm looking for, like, what are some of the really cool stuff that you've been doing with your group? Because I know, looking from the outside, it's one of those things where my favorite GIF on Facebook is a guy looking in the window, which I always type when I got FOMO or something, and that's how I feel about your group. So I know there's a lot of cool stuff in there. So what's some cool stuff that you've been working on in there?
Yeah, well, what I love to do with the group, and the reason I think our group is, I know our group is special, is that it's really for people who they're serious about the craft, and they're serious about, getting good. But again, like we remind everybody that kind of try to have some fun with it,
Yeah.
So what we do is we create challenges and contests and things like that, because my thing is, man, like, everybody has enough information. Like, if you want to, probably the best prescription I could give anyone who feels like they're stuck is to just stop learning new stuff. Like, you don't need another course in those things. But what you do need, but you need to take assessment of everything you're aware of and start to say, okay, well, what excites me? What interests me? We need to narrow our focus, right? And that's why I preach specializing for freelancers, because if you trust the process of specializing to accelerate your career, it will force you to narrow your focus and decide, do I need to also learn that and that and that and that? We're all complete course whores, and we're scared to not know everything. So, but we don't need to know everything. There's too much to know now. We need to start with a specific specialty so that we can study what's going on there. We can see who are the best in that and how they're doing it. And we can get on the list of our potential prospects and break down their stuff and study their marketing, and then approach them as an expert in what they need done and what they've been doing. And you do that, and they're not going to look for another copywriter. They're going to want you because you've already done the work of indoctrinating yourself into their world,
Yeah.
So for me, some of the cool stuff we're doing in Copy Chief to help people with that is, for instance, we just wrapped up a Facebook ad writing challenge. So we did a training with Mike Renard, who's my personal Facebook guy, and is someone who's really getting a lot of respect in the industry right now. Super smart guy, great copywriter. And he came up with a process called story mapping for how he writes his ads. So he and I did a training, taught that to the community. And then we held a challenge where we filled out the story map for them based on my live Facebook campaign right now, and said, okay, write your version of Kev's ad. And we chose 3 winners, and Mike coached every single entry. I think we had 30 plus entries.
Oh, yeah.
Gave every one of them feedback, let them do a second round, really help them try to win. We chose 3, and now we're going to run each of those ads against my control in hopes that one of them or more of them beat it.
Oh,
and
awesome.
then, we're going to give them prizes, and I'm going to do a video testimonial for the winner and help them kind of accelerate their career as Facebook ad copywriters. Because one of the hardest things for us to get as newer copywriters is the friggin' results, right?
Yeah.
It's like the client, they ghost you or whatever. They don't share the results, and it's really hard to build up your resume when you don't have results to share. So we want to solve all that and help people have fun. And it's kind of like everybody who enters wins, and then 3 people get the ultimate prize.
Nice, man. That's a great way to really put the fun in it. It sounds like a lot of fun.
It is, yeah, and everybody's cheering each other on and reviewing each other's stuff, and again, it's just a super cool, supportive community. There's no douchebags. There's nobody posing, or I've never had a flame war, any of that stuff. It's just, it's a gated community, right? It's like it's people pay to be there, and that keeps out the trolls, man. So it's a really cool place.
Yeah, I can see that from talking to other people like Mladen and people like that who are in the group. So,
yeah, he's been doing great.
Yeah. The other thing that we mentioned just before we started the show was you mentioned something about selling via the PSs in emails, and which I found interesting because when I've worked with clients like Mindvalley who get decent traffic to their funnels, we measure the number of clicks that happen throughout an email, and as they go down to the bottom of the email, they tend to really lower down, and the PS was links in the PS was not getting many clicks. So I'm really interested to find out more about this because I'm always looking to improve my PSs.
Yeah, so this is interesting, man. And the PS is the device, but it's a result of being like really wanting dialogue with your audience. I always talk about the most valuable thing I believe you can have as a marketer is an open dialogue with your audience. Yeah. And we all look at data, and we all want the next sale, and we all want those things, front end sales, build our list. But to me, if I can send out an email and have people reply personally and tell me a story or share something or answer a quick question, then that's really, to me, the measurement of how I'm doing with my list. And that does result in sales. And so an example of that is we wanted to pilot a brand new program. My real passion is coaching freelancers. I have a program called Real Free Life that I've been doing for over 3 years now. And it's if I have a thing such as a legacy program, Brian, then this would be it, because it's truly born of my own experience, right? It's not an offshoot of any other course or anything. It's just me reverse engineering everything I've done to succeed and helping other freelancers do that over all this time. So I'm really proud of it. But the problem is it's for working pro freelance copywriters, right? You need to have some scars for it to really be effective. You kind of need to know what you want to stop doing and the kind of clients you don't want to have anymore, so you can improve and maybe even eventually move away from depending on client work at some point. But there was this whole other audience of brand new copywriters who were just looking to get that first client, right? Or get away from Upwork and try to become an expert. And they just, like me, when I first started, man, I had no clue where to go or how to start that conversation or who the hell's even looking, Yeah. So we wanted to create a program for that audience. And we knew we wanted to have a conversation with people about it, but I didn't want to go on this big promo thing and really announce this program, or we just really wanted to test it, a true beta. So we wrote a series of emails about the topic, and then we would pop on a PS at the end that just said, hey, and this is all Dean Jackson, by the way. This is completely ripped out of his email mastery course. I can't quote it exactly, but it basically said, I'm working with a group of about 30 freelancers coming up here in June, and I want to help them get their first client and grow their career. And then it said, if you're interested, please let me know. And then there was a series of things like, are you easy to work with and coachable, right? Are you, now all these great little quick questions. And then the last bullet was, can you keep a secret?
Interesting.
And it was so fascinating to get the responses, and everybody really loved that can I keep a secret? Let me tell you 10 secrets I've been keeping for years. But it's amazing because it is a device, but when it comes from a place of genuine intent, like really wanting to hear people's stories, then it's effective. If you only use it as a trick or a tool, it isn't effective. And so as a result of starting a sincere conversation, asking for sincere replies, and choosing the best people, we were able to sell out the program, or actually oversell. We were looking for 30. We ended up with 43 people and finally had to just cut it off. And now we're just wrapping up the program, and it's been an unbelievable success. People are having these amazing breakthroughs, and it's a successful pilot. I didn't even announce this inside of Copy Chief, right? The only way you could learn that we were even doing this was by reading our emails to the end and reading and responding to that PS. So we knew the people in this group were going to be, great because they were paying attention. They were plugged in. They were the most engaged people on our list. And, so that was a really cool. So if you're, the kind of person who thrives on really understanding your audience and what they want from you, then that's a really cool approach.
Yeah. That's actually really fascinating. We've done a bit of stuff like that when I was writing for Ad Skills, but that's really interesting, and it proves that it's not just having a link in the PS, it's or having the call to action and being replied to the email. It's the story and the copy that leads up to that, which creates that thing. So.
It's got to start with that intent, and you got to have some patience. Like I said, everybody wants that data, and they look, okay, well, I could do this in a Facebook ad or do it with a messenger bot, and I can. Well, yeah, you could, but if you're only looking at the numbers, you're missing the point.
Yeah, improves your deliverability, getting replies too. So that's another bonus.
Yeah, and I took all the responses we got and separated them into a Google Doc, and it's like 12,000 words. I forget how many pages, and then I put that into a word cloud and stared at that it was just like, and it really like instructed how I went about coaching the program as well, because I had such a deep understanding of this whole other market for me. And it was a different breed of people. It wasn't my normal market, but what was interesting is they had the same kind of character, right? But they were in very different situations than people I normally coach. So it was really instructive.
Yeah. That is amazing. It proves that that the like you say, we all look at the data and we want the numbers to add up, but in the end, we're sending emails to real human beings who sit there and read those, and they want stuff and they have problems that need to be solved, and that's what good copy does.
Yeah, 100%, bro. It's a really good point. Like, people, I think you have to read to the people, you have to write to the people who you imagine reading what the hell you're writing. I think I first heard Ramit Sethi talk about that years ago. He was saying that because, his emails are so epic and long. And he said, I was concerned about attention spans and those things. And so I tried to write shorter and I couldn't do it. And he said, I finally just realized that the people that my best customers are going to be the people who have the patience to read these emails and find them entertaining. And I got to just be me and write that way. And that was a real eye opener to me. It's like, cause it's easy to slip into that thing of, oh crap, I got to have the perfect subject line, and I got to grab attention and get to my point really quickly, and it can't be over 500 words. And
and you got to have a link in the first paragraph.
It's like, and that's, all that's kind of true with Facebook ads, because it's a little bit different, but email is its own animal, man. It's such an intimate exchange. It's the one thing we read in isolation and respond to in isolation. Like anything you respond to on social media, you not feel like it's just you and that person. You're really, there's an audience. And so what you see a lot of on social media is a lot of people going, they're raising their hand to go, I'm in that club too, and I know who you're talking about, and I get that reference, and awesome, bro. And it's fine, but it's not very sincere, And email, man, is like, if they're willing to open it and read it and hear what you have to say, and it inspires them to respond, holy smokes, dude, like it's a minor miracle anymore to have those kind of that intimacy. And for me, it's what motivates me. And I'm all for getting the data, and we look at that and measure it, of course, and I'm running cold traffic funnels too. But what I want them to do is get on my list and actually pay attention. I measure my success by that.
Yeah. That's why. That's one of the reasons why I focus so much on email marketing. I mean, for the reasons you've spoken about, it has the dual prongs of having that good data and good results with that real relationship building that you don't get with social media and stuff like that.
Right, 100%.
So, how can people find out more about what you guys are doing, Copy Chief? And you got the event coming up as well.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So copychief.com will, I think that puts you on the wait list if you want to learn about how to join, but you could get on the list right there. You could also go to 60secondsaleshook.com and get my book for free, which I think you'll dig. And it's really handy little fourth sentence. It's a joke formula. I turned it into a sales hook formula that people can use to write a quick and really effective sales message. And you can, find my podcasts on copychief.com as well. And the event is copychief.live, and it's really fun, dude. It's 3 days of everything we do inside of CopyChief, which is have the best of the best teach us what's working best for them right now. So we have our speakers this year are Todd Herman, James Shremko, Laura Belgray, Evaldo Albuquerque will be there. Chris Evans and Taylor Welch from Traffic and Funnels. Like just man, like sharing, like, all right, here's the real stuff. Like here's the shit that did not work. Don't try this.
Don't try this at home, because that's important too, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we got to know, like, it's fun to reveal those things, and it's always super instructive. And then tell us, we all want to brag about what did work. Like, tell us what failed too. And then the connections, bro. Like, if you're a freelance copywriter, we bring we're now known as the place where you can find higher quality, serious copywriters. So the word's out in the industry. In fact, that's why Chris and Taylor are coming to meet copywriters, because they're building an in-house copy team now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
All the Agora companies come and literally fight over the copywriters. Like the little bidding wars get started at CopyChief. It's amazing. And so what we do is we have the clients at a table, and we call them the round tables. And then we have groups of copywriters move through those tables, and the clients pitch the copywriters on why they should consider working with them. Right. So it's a total flip of the script. And the writer, you could be the shyest writer in the world, and
which many of us are.
Yeah. We're all introverts. That's why we set it up that way. It's like, I don't want somebody to have to suddenly learn how to sell themselves and come up and shake a hand and give a business card and try to not to sound stupid. I mean, I was horrible at that stuff. So it's like, how do we make this feel cool? Let everybody learn about what's going on and let organic relationships happen in a sort of an orchestrated way. And dude, $500,000 in contracts over the first 2 events alone for copywriters. So it's been an amazing success. And then this crazy party we do where we bring in a house band and Carlton in Paris, Lampropolis, and Addison Rice and Angie Coley get up and jam with the band, and to see them in their glory, their old bar band glory, our copywriting heroes. It's crazy fun, dude. So it's just it's something I really love, man.
Yeah. That's kind of the premier copy event that everyone should be at if they're looking to start working with a lot of these people, like the traffic and funnels people, and people are going there specifically looking to hire copywriters. So it's an amazing opportunity for anybody who wants to get that kind of serious work.
Yeah, thank you. It's true, man. It is. It's like, it's funny. I did a webinar on it last week, and I was going through everything we do, and I was like, damn. Like, damn, Rogers, like, what else can you do for people? You know, it's like, I don't know how we're not sold out already, but, you know, I guess that's marketing. I mean, I got to never reach all
that's events.
Events are always, challenging. But we got over 100 tickets sold, and we're actually just at the point where we normally start marketing the event. And we had over 200 last year. So we know we're going to break our record this year. And so we're excited.
But I remember you were sold out that year that I met you at Todd Brown's event. So I was actually in the US, and I said, I'll go to Copy Chief Live. Nah, sold out. Yeah,
we sold out that first year and doubled it last year. And what's cool is the room we're in, you know, I know how I want it to be. And so, you know, we can change the seating and fit more, which is cool that we can expand in that room. But to make the round tables work and do all that, we have to keep it limited. So
yeah, sure. I would have stood in a fire exit or something though.
I'll sneak you in the back, man. Just show up this week.
Thanks for coming on the show, Kevin. It's been very not just instructive, but also entertaining. That's the kind of guy you are, and that's why you're such a great teacher of copywriters. You are a true copywriting genius. And so your sites were copychieflive.com, copychief.live, and secondsaleshook.com. If you're listening on iTunes, then go to those sites, or you can go to geniusesofcopywriting.com, and when this episode is up, I'll chuck the links up on that page as well. But if you're serious about having a freelance career and even moving on from that, like Kevin has said, you know, these are invaluable resources which you'd be foolish not to take advantage of.
Agreed.
I thought you might.
I really appreciate that.
No problem. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing all that cool stuff with us, man.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Geniuses of Copywriting with Brian Cassingena. To get the full transcript and all the resources mentioned on today's show, go to www.geniusesofcopywriting.com now.